Welcome to Atlanta! That was not planned, but I felt it was only fitting.
I know.
That's what I say whenever you land or walk in the door, wherever you may be in Atlanta, and I feel like that is the Atlanta welcome.
Oh gosh, I know. It's great to be back here. So first of all, welcome to On the Verge podcast, episode 3, season 2. As you can tell, I'm back in Atlanta again.
We recorded the first 2 episodes in Atlanta as well.
Yes.
It's amazing. We have a live, this is just live now. So.
I guess now I have to record the entire season here now.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I have to.
So once again, guys, welcome to On the Verge podcast. My name is Willie, and this is Tammy, and we are here in Atlanta. And this week's episode, you and I were actually just kind of discussing it a little bit, and just different things kind of going on in our lives recently and everything. And from the past, we were kind of reminiscing about different things in the past. And this episode, we want to talk about not being afraid of success.
Yes.
And first of all, what success looks like, and what is it about success that one may be afraid of?
Yes.
We've been entrepreneurs for quite a few years now, and there's that roller coaster you go through. Business is really slow and dry, and you're panicking, but also it's explosive, it's great, it's prosperous.
Right.
But that can also feel a little uneasy too, because you're not quite sure how long it's going to last, where it's coming from, what this means, and what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to talk about a little bit more, just not being afraid of success.
Yeah.
And what that would look like.
I think that's great. And I think what's such an important point is that success, it doesn't always translate to a financial gain.
Yes.
Yes, certainly it has that success component of a financial gain, but it's not always necessarily that. So I think success is being able to fill your pipeline. Success is being able to have meaningful conversations, being able to have more recognition, more impressions, more growth. That's success. And I think also, just before we even get into that conversation, that realizing you have to celebrate those little wins along the way.
Yes.
As opposed to that old mantra, that old mindset, when I do this, I will be happy. Yes. When I accomplish this, I will be dubbed as successful, or I will feel successful. Exactly. Because you know what? As you are growing through your success from point A to point B, or point A to D, wherever that may be, yes, it is that success barometer will change.
It will. And like you said, wherever you are in your career, that path of entrepreneurship or whatever it may be, it doesn't even have to be entrepreneurship. It could just be your relationship and marriage and your friendships, whatever. But just not being afraid to take it to the next level, to let it get to the next level. The story I kind of shared with you, a couple of years ago in real estate, and fairly early on in my career, I think within my first full year, I had an explosive year. 2018 was amazing. It was great. Yeah. And there were one of two things I could have done with that. One, I could have just kind of let it go to my head and was like, oh yeah, this like great, no one can stop me and my shit don't stink. But but in that time, I also had to be very mindful about this can be taken away.
How did you know? Were you operating out of this could be taken away at any moment, or was it just being more proactive in your planning, in your thinking?
More proactive in my planning and thinking. So yes, there was a moment maybe where you kind of panic because you have the success or all this money coming and whatnot, and you for a moment you want to make sure, okay, am I spending my money right? Am I planning? Am I saving it right? Am I doing whatever? Right. The business that I'm getting, am I getting it ethically? Am I getting it good? Yes. Or am I compromising my integrity to get this business? So you kind of have those moments and those thoughts. But once I realized that this is coming because of what I'm doing and how good I'm doing my business and people want to work with me, now I have to say, okay, I'm grateful for this, and I know this can all be taken away. What
Mm-hmm.
can I do to maybe soften the inevitable blow in a year from now, or when the season gets dry?
Yeah.
Or what can I do um, to make sure I can take full advantage of this moment,
Mm-hmm.
of this season? In real estate, especially wherever you are in the country, you know, highs and lows. In the summer, it's
Sure.
explosive. In the winter, it's a little quieter and drier.
Right.
So I wanted to say, okay, I'm successful right now. Things are good right now. What is it that I can do, that I'm doing right now, that I can keep doing in the future,
Yes.
to make it easier, make it better, but also finding ways to stay humble. I remember during that time, like, I was praying a lot, and I was thanking God a lot, just for the blessings and for what was coming,
Right.
and making sure that I'm using this opportunity wisely, and that I'm continuing to make my clients first. I might have shitload of them, but making sure that all of my clients,
Yes.
that
Are
they
getting
know
enough
they're
of you.
partners. Yes.
Getting enough of you.
And the best of me.
And the best of you. I think that's so important. But also just staying humble, I think, is important. And I'd love to dive into that a little bit. But
Yes.
before we get into that, it's sort of, how do you define success? Is society defining success for you?
Mm-hmm.
Is the internet setting your sort of timeline of success, to say, listen, you 25, you 30, you 35, 40, wherever you may be in that sort of time frame? Who's setting that success for you? Is it you? Have you sat down and said, this is what success, or let's rephrase that, this is what accomplishment, let's rephrase again, this is what accomplishment looks like to me.
Yes.
And I think success is tossed around in so many different capacities, whether it is money, or awards, or the blue check mark on social, whatever that may be. But I think we've also got to define what success is to us internally. What is accomplishment to us?
Absolutely. I think kind of the point that you're making too, you can't measure your success based on other people's definition of success.
Yes, exactly.
And I think in a lot of different worlds and a lot of different spaces, it's easy to do that because, like in real estate, and especially back home, you have real producers, you have the top this and top that. You have every real estate agent, including myself, admittedly so, has award winning. I mean, all you have to do is sell like 10 houses a year to be considered to get some kind of award. So it's, you get something, or everyone says top producer, but what does that mean? It's all of these overinflated titles and awards, if you will, but that's not even that's just for other people. So you have to say, what does success look like for you? And then kind of stepping into that. And I think it's, and once I started doing that, and you can even share your stories too, like once I started defining what success looks like to me in my brand and my business, I wasn't afraid of it.
Sure.
And I knew it wasn't going to get away from me because I was defining it myself. It was coming from me. It was for me. It's not about the cars and the money or anything like that. I don't have a big house. I don't have a luxury car.
We laughed just about this weekend. We had this whole conversation about status symbols. And that's what it is. It's just a status symbol of your perceived notion of success, or not even your perceived notion of success. It's status symbols of society's notion of what success is.
And it doesn't mean that if somebody has a big house or a luxury car or anything like that, that that to diminish that in any kind of way. No, and congratulations. And I think that's amazing if you're able to accomplish that and get to that. But what I'm saying is making sure that that house that you have or that car that you have, you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it to prove it to the neighbors or keep up with the Joneses or to fit into some circle, if you will,
for sure.
or anything like that. So So once I define success, and for me, and success in my business
Mm-hmm.
is being true, my true authentic self to my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And over the couple of years in real estate, I've started stripping away some of the things that I felt were I needed to do um, just to be in real estate, if you
Yeah,
will. You
yeah.
know, the
Table
suits
stakes,
and
yeah,
the
absolutely.
yes, the suits and and all of those different things, all these networking events and
Got
all
to
that
show
stuff.
up, yeah.
Yeah, but now, and I was actually, I was on Jesse T's podcast today, and I was telling him too, my business card, I don't even have a suit or tie on in there. I'm in
Yeah.
a t-shirt and jeans.
It's best representative of
Yes,
who you are.
and who I am, and also where we are right now, and in that, I'm trying to represent and let people know, like, I'm just Willie Davis from the Clem, from Mount Clemens, from the same neighborhood, in the same area that a lot of my clients grew up in,
Mm.
and letting them know that I'm not somebody who's just here to take their money. I'm here to work with you, to
Yeah,
help you to build this relationship.
absolutely.
And that's kind of once I was able to fine tune that and hone in on that,
Yeah.
I became what I felt even more successful. And not necessarily I made more money or anything, but those relationships, I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was better serving my
Serving them.
clients. Yes.
Yeah. I think that's so important, however you determine success. So,
Yeah.
for example, there have been moments where in my life, I determined success as I gave everything of
Hmm.
myself in that day. I left nothing, there was nothing more I could give.
Hmm.
So for me, it is absolutely showing up
Yes.
every single day, staying in the game. I've said that multiple times, but staying in the game and showing up every single day and leaving it all on the
Yeah.
floor, the courts, the executive boardroom, whatever it may be. But sometimes it is. It's just that could be your success. Success
Yes.
could look like you just showing up every damn day. And that's important. And determining how you reach that level of success is important. And how
Hmm.
you get there is going to be far reaching. Maybe you're doing it for your family, maybe it's just for you. But
Yes.
being aware of that and also knowing that that's going to shift and being patient with yourself, that idea of success or that idea of what you're going to reach, is it a title? Do you feel like you can lead and manage without a title? Do you feel like you have to have that before you can do so?
Yes.
So I think there's many ways where, is it a title? Because sometimes you're
Yes.
going to work so hard to get to that title and you get that title and it's meaningless. It doesn't
It
hold
is.
the same meaning.
Yes.
So it's those interpersonal relationships, it's those connections, it's those
Yes.
ongoing sort of the way you feel. Sometimes you can be dubbed successful by society,
Yes.
but you feel nothing
You feel
of
nothing.
that.
Yes.
And that's important.
And you can even get to that title, if you will, and
Mhm.
realize
Yeah.
whatever organization or company that you might be with, you get to that SVP title or something and realize, oh, the pay doesn't even support it.
Not commensurate of what the title is.
There was more value me just being a director.
Exactly.
You know.
You get all this added responsibilities and pressures, and all of that adds up
Yeah,
too.
yeah. And then the other thing about, not being afraid of success, because once you kind of define for yourself what that success is or what success means to you, your family, or your partners, um, then you have to you own it, and then you step into it. Now you have this responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Episodes before, we've talked about purpose and stepping into your purpose and what that means. But
Yeah.
once you figure it out,
Yes.
now you have a responsibility to own it and to wear that cape,
Yeah.
and to carry it with you.
Totally.
Yeah, so you can't say, okay, this is what success means in my business. This is what it looks like. We'll have X amount of sales, or I've built a deep relationship with my clients, and so on and so forth. But then not carry it out.
Absolutely. I think living up to success is that old saying that with great success comes great responsibility. I may have butchered that, but you can put that in the subtitles. But it's so true. You have so much greater responsibility to not only live in that, support your clients, but turn around and open the door for people behind you.
Yes.
To put your arm down for the ladder who's coming up next.
Yes.
And that's important. And help people understand why you got there, how you got there. But also, and I think let's backtrack a little bit to being scared of success. I think first defining what success is for you, but being scared of it. And operating out of a scarcity mindset or an abundance mindset.
Yes, yeah. So talk to people about scarcity. Like what is your experience?
Yeah, I think for many entrepreneurs, you take a leap of faith. A lot of entrepreneurs are bootstrapping, taking or operating as a side gig, perhaps. A lot of are doing side hustles. So you don't have that income coming in, but your time is scarce in that capacity. And then you go through, you may be making the leap to this. It's not something that you prepared to do. And you know that you have to be very cautious. You have to be very careful with your resources, whether it's time, money, people, whatever that looks like. And so you know how that feels when when you have minimum resources available to you. Again, time, money, people, friends, whatever that may be. And so when you do get to a point where you have an abundance of, you will never have an abundance of time. Let me just scratch that. That's not going to happen. If you do, I would love for you to tell me what that what that silver bullet is for an abundance of time. I think an abundance of time is the greatest luxury or the greatest privilege there is.
But even entrepreneurs, like especially like the some of the like really passionate ones too. If you do find yourself in that rare moment of like an abundance of time, we always try to fill it in some way.
You will fill it.
Yes.
You will absolutely
what can I do?
fill it. Yeah.
You might let some clients drop off or stop working with clients like, oh great, I have this extra 5 hours in the week. And and by the next week you've added 10 more hours of work in some way. But
easily. And so I think in the times when it does increase your productivity or financially it increases or your success by your own barometer increases, because you have been on the other end of the spectrum where you haven't had that. And I talk about this from folks who have maybe been in a position where they've gone from one end of the spectrum to the other. I think because you've lived in a space where you haven't had an abundance of resources, when you suddenly have it, it's hard to manage. Or you don't know how to manage, and you think, let me either grasp onto this, let me not let it go, let me not operate from a mindset of abundance where you're welcoming these things in, welcoming opportunities, or you closed off to opportunities and not really honing in on how you got there and what can you do to keep doing that over and over again. Because I think it's like rinse and repeat. Like, okay, how did I get here? What am I going to do to keep going?
Yeah, no, and I think that's important too. We, kind of what you were saying. You get to a point and it's like, oh, I got all of this extra, and trying to figure out, what to do with it, how to handle it, how to manage it, and that can be scary.
Yes, of course.
Very
no one teaches
scary.
You how to do that.
No, and I think that was like one of the first challenges I had as an entrepreneur where, you come out of your 9 to 5, somebody tells you what time to be there. Someone tells you what to work on, how long to work on it, when to leave, and when to come back. And then now all of a sudden it's Monday morning, you have your entire week ahead of you and some work sprinkled in there. You're trying to figure out, okay, do I do it all right now? Do I do it on Wednesday? Do I wait until 3:00 on Friday to do it when deadline? And how do I fill in the gaps? Building my business, building the network, and all those different things. And the thought of that can be scary too. You might have 2 clients that are decent enough to say, okay, I'm working,
Yes, yes.
but you know that's not sustainable enough, and you need to build more. You really need to get 5 more clients
Yes.
in a month.
Yeah.
And that thought right there, that means now you got to talk to people, and even that thought of getting 5 more clients in a particular amount of time. If you do that, that is successful.
Yeah.
So the things that you need to do to be successful can be scary.
It can be scary. It can
and
be
makes you
overwhelming.
not even
And
want to.
what is that word? I've lost the word, but it paralyzes you.
Yes.
And you have all this opportunity in front of you, but you can also be paralyzed
Yes.
by the fear of, oh, I have to do what I've already done.
Mm-hmm.
And you already know what to do, but it can be very paralyzing,
Yes.
knowing what it will get you to. So
because sometimes
you
have to do what you did again times 10. And then take that in times 20, and every time you do it again, you have to do it more. So this week you got 1 new client, and talk to 5 people and got 1 new client. Next week you have to talk to 10 people and get 3.
Yeah.
Next week, the week after, you got to talk to 20 and get 7.
It's not easy. It does. It is. And then you pour in all these other external factors, right? Mind you, forget the pandemic. That's just overall overarching, just real tough stuff. But if you think about, you have relationships, if you have children, if you are on a health journey where you have changed your routine, things like that can be incredibly tough to do.
Yeah.
And it can be such a distraction because now you have so many different factors at play.
Yeah.
So that can be scary too. I think it's tough. So what do you do in the scary moments? What do you do when you're scared?
Well, a lot of times it's one, for a minute, I cry about it. I'm like, oh my God, really feel that pressure and that,
it's like that chest, when you feel that it's absolutely like a weight on your chest, and you want to scream, rage, angry, but it's that anxiety.
Absolutely.
Like it lives here.
Yes. Yeah. But then, that's when you building your systems come into play. So if there's a certain amount of clients or people you need to network with, clients you need to get, what are the systems to make it easy for you? If you're cold calling, I hate cold calling. I don't do it. I will not do it. So I already know I'm missing out on that part of the business. So but I'm fine with that.
Compensates in other areas, right?
I don't like cold calling, but if you have to cold call, I know some agents and other people who, for 3 hours a day, they'll cold call and they just get that out of the way, and just building that system. If you need to go to networking events, it's so easy in our world to go to a networking event every night, do a networking lunch and a dinner and a happy hour. You're doing 3 a day, but trying to find the ones that work for you. And it's like, okay, I'm going to do 2 a week, and these are the days, these are the ones I'm going to, and the more you do it, the easier it feels.
Absolutely. And the more of a routine you feel. And then you can select which are the ones that are performing better or bring more return on your investment of time, resources, whatever that could be.
Yeah. So it's not only it's not only saying to yourself and figuring out what success looks like to you.
Right.
It's what are the steps to success for you.
Right.
Because if success looks like one thing to me, which looks different than Tammy,
sure,
we can't use the same steps.
No.
We can't do the same things. We can't do,
We're different people.
We're different
just
people,
in and of itself, in different
things.
industries.
Yes, but all things being equal, if we both want to get to say, we have to, what works for me? What am I comfortable doing? Tammy might love cold calling. Great, by all means. Exactly. So if one person loves cold calling, and that's not for you.
Yeah.
Don't do things that don't feel where that payoff isn't there. Now, yes, there's times we had to step out of our comfort zone, and I have done cold calling before, and I got out of my comfort zone, and I did it enough to realize I don't want to do it.
Fair enough. But also, what I'll say is, you can do a myriad of different things
you can.
at a mediocre level, or you can know your strengths and double
Yes,
down on them. And that's
absolutely.
important too. Just because everyone else
Yes.
says cold calling or standing on the corner with a signboard on their tomato box,
Yes.
find what works for you and gives you the biggest results
Hmm.
and double down on that.
Yes.
I know where my strengths lie and I know where I'm going to scrape by.
Yeah.
I'll tell you now, I've doubled down on what I'm good at. I'm going to find someone else to, thrive in the area where I
Yes.
don't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then once you get that, then that success
Yes.
will feel better and feel more fulfilling, and it won't be so scary.
Yeah.
I think it's the things that you're doing that you really don't want to do and you don't like to do and doesn't resonate with
Yes. Yeah.
you, that you feel you have to do to get to a certain level of success.
Yes.
And that's why that success can seem so scary.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's fantastic. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think also it comes down to discipline.
Mhm.
When you are scared, you are incapable of moving forward, you're experiencing anxiety in other areas of your life that have
Yes.
now filtered into your work
Mhm.
life. Discipline is going to help you keep moving.
Yes.
Motivation is going to come and go. It's going to come in
Yes.
waves and it's going to go. It's the discipline that keeps you going.
Yes.
It's discipline that keeps you attuned and focused on your process, on the
It is.
systems you put in place,
Mhm.
on waking up on time, on picking
Yeah.
up the phone. And it is certainly
Mhm.
your discipline.
Even going to bed, making sure you go to bed at a particular time, or making sure you get enough sleep.
Sleep.
This isn't, something where you need to be up till 3 a.m. every night and waking up at 5 a.m. every day
Yeah.
to get that level of success. That 7, 8 hours of
Yeah.
sleep and making sure, okay, I'm shutting my brain off so I can get a good night's sleep.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
just as
so-
you've said this many times,
Yes.
just as you hire a trainer for
Mhm.
your body,
Yes.
hire your coach or your
Mhm.
therapist for your mind to train your
Yes.
mind to be prepared for those situations.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, I think
So
that's
yeah.
great.
So what I challenge anyone that's listening to this or watching it, start writing down those things. Well, first of all, start thinking about what does success look like for you, and writing down those steps that you want to take to get to that level of success, and what works for you, what works for your family, and what works for your business. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And know that success is going to shift once you get there.
Yes, exactly. So thank you guys for listening. If you like this episode, please share it, leave comments and everything. If there's anything that you guys want us to talk about or hear from us, let us know, message us. We would love to tackle some of those topics. But until next time, you guys stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.